Hi, my name is Zephyr Wildman. I'm going to just offer you a practice tip with the leg coming deeper into a forward bend and a slight external rotation of it to be more safe and effective to stretch the piriformis, the glutes, and the hamstrings. So say for instance in a variation like Krachasana, when our hamstrings are tight, we tuck our pelvis under like a bad dog. We try to straighten our legs and get our nose to our knee. So what I'm going to suggest is bend the knee, and as you rotate your pubic bone towards the floor, come up higher onto the sit bones, drawing the back of the body towards the front, then extend the leg and you'll feel more of the hamstring stretch. But the tendency is people who have really tight psoas and or piriformises, they'll internally rotate the leg to bring the leg up. Eventually, this is going to wear out your hip because the top of the femur bone, called the trochanter, presses against the ridge of your hip bone and starts to pinch the cartilage, the labral cartilage of the hip joint. So when your leg is going deeper than a 90-degree bend in your pelvis, we need to create a little external rotation. In that external rotation, we bypass the trochanter a little bit, creating more space to bring the leg closer to our body, and then starting to bring the leg out and beyond. But if you have an internal rotation, it torques the hip, creating a lot of pressure on your SI joint. This is going to help you in your supine variations. Again, when you extend the leg, the tendency is to tuck the pelvis under. So make sure as you bend the knee, rotate your pubic bone towards the end of the mat. Feel that your pubic bone and tailbone are equally reaching towards the end of the mat. Your lower back is slightly off the floor. You have a more neutral spine. And then as you kick your foot up, notice the tendency of an internal rotation, hiking that hip, shortening the waist, but also feeling that it's shortening the psoas, and your piriformis is really contracting and shortening in this. So what we want to do is stretch the piriformis, the hamstrings, so we create an external rotation to be able to then bring the leg in more of a forward bend that we can bring the leg out. Whereas if it's internally rotated, again, it's going to create a pinching-like effect. This is the same kind of principle as if you are going into a forward bend, not to internally rotate too much. There needs to have the toes pointing up, and abduction, drawing away from the midline to create the space for the pelvis to fold. The same thing in down dog. We don't internally rotate our toes in down dog to try to create the forward bend. That internal rotation, too much internal rotating in forward bends, causes a wear and tear in the hips. The same thing is a lot of people think if I just internally rotate and turn your toes in to go into a deeper fold, the tendency is, again, you're going to wear out your labral cartilage. So better to point your toes forward, bend the knees, abduct, draw your thighs away, and notice there's an external rotation of the thighs moving towards the outer buttocks. Yes, the groins are softening through too, but there's more of an action of a stability in the pelvis, an external rotation as we fold into our forward bend. So try that. Notice in your pose an internal rotation, what that feels like in your hips, versus an external rotation, and notice maybe some more freedom and space to be able to do that forward bend. I hope that practice tip helps, and yeah, give me your feedback if you have any questions, but I hope to see you again for another one.